A very brief introduction to the narrowband and low noise amplifier design. You have seen in my earlier lecture that the transistors which serve as amplifier are generally characterized by the S parameter while they are being used for the microwave frequency ranges. The reflection and the transmission coefficient represented in terms of the S parameter hold the entire information regarding the incident wave and the loss in terms of the reflected wave, and therefore we have to think of different techniques that can increase the gain as well as can reduce the losses, and that technique that I'm going to discuss over here is the conjugate and lossless matching. After that, a low noise amplifier, a design technique for the low noise amplifier will be discussed, where the noise figure play an important role, and that will be considered next. In my previous lecture, you have seen that the total transducer gain can be represented as a product of the source matching circuit, gain of the source matching circuit, times the intrinsic gain of the transistor or the amplifier, times the gain of the load matching circuit, where the gain of the source matching circuit was represented using this equation, and this is the intrinsic gain of the transistor, and that is why it has been represented by the S parameter. S21 represents that the excitation is at port 1 while the observation is done from port 2, and this is the expression for the load matching circuit. Already I have established this relation in my earlier lecture. Now, if we apply the condition of conjugate matching, that means the reflection coefficient at the input side of the transistor becomes equals to the complex conjugate of the reflection coefficient associated with the source matching network, and the reflection coefficient associated at the output impedance or output side of the transistor or amplifier is equals to the conjugate or complex conjugate of the load matching network, then this equation will be resulted. So this is the maximum gain that we can achieve if we have such kind of matching. That means here you can see in the case of source matching network, where this gamma in and gamma s are present. Now, as this condition, the conjugate matching states that gamma in is equals to the conjugate term of this gamma s, then the product of these two terms, which is basically the product of gamma s times the conjugate of the gamma s, then the product of these two terms can be represented as mod gamma s square, as shown over here. And earlier in the derivation of this GT max, I have used an expression where I have already applied this condition that gamma out is equals to conjugate of the load matching network, or the reflection coefficient of the load matching network, and by replacing this condition I have already obtained this expression over there. You can see my previous lecture how this derivation is done by replacing this condition. However, satisfying these two conditions, we may have the conjugate matching condition, and that can maximize the transducer gain, but still we have a problem, and that problem is associated with the reflection coefficient, because these symbols represent the reflection coefficient associated with the source matching network and the load matching network, and we know the reflection coefficient appears due to the reflection mechanism from a particular segment of the network. So that is why the losses are present in terms of the reflection coefficient in the case of both in the input side as well as at the output side. So therefore, lossless condition must be achieved, and the lossless condition means this reflection coefficient should go to 0. And you can see here is the lossless condition, because the gamma L which has this expression, and it contains the expression with the load impedance and the characteristic impedance of the amplifier, and the gamma S, which takes into account the reflection from the input side, contains the source impedance and the characteristics impedance in its expression. So therefore, in order to achieve this lossless matching, we must have ZL should be matched with the Z0 and ZS must be matched with this Z0. And if you can match these two impedances, then you can completely make this gamma L and gamma S 0. So therefore, by achieving this conjugate matching and this lossless matching simultaneously, you can achieve the transducer gain of the amplifier in terms of the S parameters only, where basically by minimizing the loss you are maximizing the transducer gain of the amplifier. Although it is very easy to establish a condition to achieve the maximum gain while the loss is 0, but practically it is not so easy to design a transistor with no reflection coefficient or no any other losses, because in most of the cases the transistor exhibits significant impedance mismatch. In addition to that, for bilateral device which is characterized as S12 is equals to 0, that means the excitation is at port 2 and the observation is done from port 1. For such type of devices, is gamma n, that means the reflection or losses at the input side and the losses at the output side, they are related with each other. You can see this expression over here. This is the gamma in, which is related with the gamma L. Such kind of expression I have already derived in my previous lecture. And the gamma out, which is also related with this gamma S. So gamma L is the reflection coefficient associated with the load matching network, whereas this gamma S is a reflection coefficient associated with the source matching network. So there is a relation between the losses at the input side with the losses at the load side. Similarly, losses at the output side is related with the losses at the source side. Now, by using the conjugate matching condition, that means gamma in is equals to conjugate of the reflection coefficient of the source matching network, we can directly write this gamma S star is equals to this one. A similar way, using this condition, I can write this expression over here. Now, this S11 and S22, these two S parameter take into account the reflection associated with the transistor itself. So if these S11 and S22 become very large, then you can design a stable lossless amplifier for a narrow band in frequency ranges. Now let's study the condition for stability in the light of the source matching network and the load matching network. The expression for the source matching network that I have achieved by using the conjugate matching condition, and here the expression I have achieved for the load matching network also. Now, in order to solve this first one, I am considering this one. Here I have taken the conjugate of this expression on both sides of the equal sign, and finally I have achieved this expression, and in this expression I have just divided the numerator and the denominator by this gamma L, and when it has been taken the conjugate of that, so the gamma L conjugate should appear, and thereafter this expression is resulted. And where this gamma L, the conjugate of this gamma L, I have already an expression for that, and this is the expression that already I have used in my previous lectures, many of my previous lectures associated with the amplifier design, and that expression I have summarized into this parameter delta, and here I have placed this delta in the expression of this gamma L. Now just replace this expression of the conjugate of gamma L into this expression of the gamma S, and after a little rearrangement you can write the entire expression as shown over here, like this one. And in this expression, obviously this parameter, that means S11 conjugate times S22 conjugate minus S12 conjugate times S21 conjugate, can be represented as the delta conjugate, because this delta parameter is defined over here as shown. So that is why this expression, this delta times this delta conjugate, should be written as the magnitude square of the deltas. The final expression that you can get out of the expression that already I have achieved in my previous slide is this one. And you can see this expression appears as the quadratic equation in this gamma s. Therefore, the solution of this gamma s is very simple, and this one is the solution for gamma s. In a similar way, the expression or the solution for gamma L can also be achieved, and that is written also over here. And in this case, the B1 and C1 are associated with the gamma S, and B2 and C2 are associated with the gamma L. The expression for B1 and C1 is written over here. This is the B1, this is C1, and B2 and C2. Now, the real solution for gamma S and gamma L can be possible if this expression, that means B1 square, or in general we can say B square minus 4 mod C square, because either it can be B1 or B2, because I am considering both of these gamma S and gamma L. I am not mentioning the B1 or B2. I am in general considering it is B and C also. So the expression within the square root, that is B square minus 4 times magnitude square of C, this expression must be greater than 1. And if you replace the expression for B and C from this expression, then you will get the Rollett's condition that I have discussed in my previous lecture, and the Rollett condition states that the K must be greater than 1, and the expression of the K you will achieve by replacing the expression of B1, C1 and B2 and C2 in their respective places. Next is the low noise amplifier. In designing a low noise amplifier, a noise figure is generally considered, and that noise figure is written over here. The F mean, as shown in this expression, that F mean is the minimum noise figure that should be achieved while you are designing the amplifier. This F mean is in generally either can be achieved from the datasheet of the amplifier or by experimental result of the amplifier. So this is the minimum noise figure that we have to maintain, and this is the additional part where the Ys, which is the real part Gs and the imaginary part Bs, is the source admittance presented to the transistor. Y opt, this is the optimum source admittance that should be achieved, or if you can achieve this optimum source admittance, then this parameter will be 0, and then only you can get this noise figure F is equals to the desired one, that means the F minimum. And Rn represents equivalent noise resistance of a transistor. And since this gamma S is related with the characteristics impedance of the transistor and the source impedance of the transistor, so therefore the source admittance can also be represented easily in terms of the characteristics impedance of the transistor and the reflection coefficient of the source matching network, which is gamma S. In a similar way, the optimum source admittance can also be represented with the optimum reflection coefficient, which is the desired one, because we cannot make the reflection 0 or absolutely 0. So therefore we can optimize the reflection coefficient, and this is the optimum reflection coefficient that is associated with the optimum value of the source admittance, and upon achieving this optimum value you can make this part 0 and you can achieve the desired one, that means the minimum noise figure you can achieve. As I told, this F minimum, gamma optimum and this noise resistance Rn, these are the noise parameters and These are available either from the manufacturer datasheet or from direct measurement. Our only concern is this difference, that means the source admittance and the source optimum admittance. So therefore, the expression that already I have achieved for the source admittance and the optimum admittance, here I have replaced in this expression, and I have achieved this expression in terms of the reflection coefficient of the source matching network gamma s and the gamma optimum, which you can get from the manufacturer datasheet. And this is the real part of the ys. You can easily calculate the real part of the ys, because we know since this is a complex number, and the real part of a complex number is equals to that complex number plus the conjugate of that complex number divided by 2, because from there the twice real part should appear and that 2 cancels that effect. And this is the final expression for the real part of ys that you can get after rearranging this expression. Finally, the expression for f you can write in terms of the gamma s and gamma optimum as shown in this expression. Now, the reflection coefficient of the source matching network, this gamma s, it is a constant for a particular design, and this gamma optimum, which is the optimum reflection coefficient of the particular device, that also be constant, because you can get this from the manufacturer datasheet. So therefore, these parameters can be treated as a constant, and that constant here I have denoted as n. And if you take out this expression from the entire expression of the noise figure, then the rest term can also be equals to that same constant n. Now multiply the denominator from this expression with the n and write the numerator in terms of that complex term times its complex conjugate term. The purpose of writing in this way is that you can multiply term by term over here, and you can represent the next line as shown upon multiplication of the complex term with its own complex conjugate. Now from here, this gamma s times gamma s conjugate is basically mod gamma s square. So therefore, in the next expression, I have taken this n times mod gamma s square on the left side of the equal sign, and I have taken this one common. So therefore, n plus 1 is appearing, and I have divided the entire equation by that n plus 1, and thus the last expression is achieved. And if you add this term with the expression that I have achieved in my last slide, then we can easily rearrange the entire expression to represent the gamma s as shown over here. You are already familiar with such kind of representation of the reflection coefficient, where this gamma s is basically describe a circle with the center at this particular point and the radius having such kind of expression. Therefore, in order to achieve or in order to minimize this expression so that you can get the f equals to f mean or f very close to f mean, you must have this n should be as small as possible, because you should remember the expression for the n. N has a expression that is mod of gamma s minus gamma optimum square divided by 1 minus this mod of gamma s square. So this was the expression for this n. So in order to minimize this term, you should have to minimize this n. Now if n becomes close to 0, then this r also goes to 0, and the center of this gamma s approaches to a constant, this gamma optimum. So therefore, if you choose the center at the gamma optimum, then the radius will be 0 automatically, and basically you will get a dot for this expression of the gamma s. But unfortunately, you can choose the center of the gamma s at the exact gamma optimum, because that may violate the stability condition that already I have discussed in my previous lecture, where a similar uh, circle was described by the gamma s with a different value or different expression for the center and the different expression for the radius. So therefore, when you superimpose that circle over the Smith chart, then the stability circle associated with the gamma s describes one circle, whereas the noise figure associated with the gamma s describes another circle. So if you want to minimize this noise figure by choosing the center at gamma optimum, then basically you may violate the condition of achieving a stable amplifier. So therefore you have to make a trade-off between them, and as I told in the case of the stability, that a circle basically defines two regions. One is the inside of the circle and another is the outside of the circle, and both of them exist within the Smith chart, or it can be outside of the Smith chart, because the Smith chart is normalized to unity, whereas these circles are not normalized to unity. And based on a few conditions, the inside region of the circle which falls within the Smith chart appears within the stable region of the amplifier, and by changing the condition of the stability, the outside of the circle which falls within the Smith chart, they appear as the stable region of the amplifier. Already I have discussed this thing. You can refer to my previous lecture regarding the stability. In this case also, if you superimpose the circle associated with this gamma s and the noise figure, then the inside of the circle and the outside of the circle may define the different situation according to the requirement. Which means, suppose that the gamma s associated with the stability circle describing a circle within the Smith chart, and the gamma s associated with the noise figure is also describing another circle within the Smith chart, but those circles are completely separated from each other. In that case, you cannot have a common region that describes the stability condition as well as minimum noise figure condition for the amplifier you are going to design. On the other hand, if these two circles intersect each other over the Smith chart, when you are superimposing both of these circles on the Smith chart, then the intersecting region or the common region basically describes the condition of the stable amplifier as well as the amplifier with minimum noise figure.